Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Home Dad Chat. It's great to have you here to listen to Danny and I go back and forth just talking about whatever is going on. And tonight is definitely a whatever show. We're just catching up, and it's been kind of a crazy couple of weeks. And so we'll talk a little bit about the past couple of episodes and just the fun we've had with talking to some different guys and just what's been going on within the past couple of weeks, because it's been a bit of a whirlwind in some ways. So but yeah, we're glad you're here, and so I hope you all enjoy the show. Danny, it's good to see you, man. It's been a couple of weeks. How you been?
Yeah, been definitely a couple weeks. Last week was spring break for us, and all the kids home all the time. We didn't do a lot as far as we didn't go to the beach or anything like that, just because COVID. We still kind of still staying home, but we definitely were outside almost every single day. And here in Georgia, that's truly spring, so all the plants are blooming and the sun's shining. It was 82 degrees this afternoon, and
Nice.
it was good. Yeah, I mean, just simple things. I got to tell you, a water hose and 4 kids, and you have a good time. Somebody's going to end up crying. Somebody will end up crying because they got splashed too much or didn't get the hose or whatever. But other than that, everybody will have a good time, good memories. At least a few years from now in therapy, they'll be laughing about it. So yeah, it was good. Had a good weekend, or a good week, I should say. How about you?
I couldn't even imagine. It's been good, but I could not imagine having a water hose out in April. That just boggles my mind, honestly. Like, and anybody else who's listening that's in any kind of cold weather or coming up out of the cold is probably going, "Are you kidding me? Like, are you making your children into snowmen?" But that's the joys of living down in the South. So,
Yeah.
that's pretty nice. No, I've been good. So 2 weeks ago, I was back home for my grandfather's funeral when you were
Yep.
talking to Sergio. And so getting to listen to that episode while I edited it was awesome and made me want to be there that much more, and sad that I wasn't. Definitely getting to hear you guys talk about cigars. I just wanted to go buy like a case of them afterwards, because I was just like, oh my gosh, it was so much fun listening to that conversation. And man, that dude has just got so much knowledge.
He is the man.
Ridiculous.
It was very impressive. I mean, just the cigars that he had with him were enough, but just his knowledge, the etiquette, how to smoke, when to smoke, why to cut it a certain way, just all sorts of stuff. It was amazing.
Well, and that's an episode, and that episode in particular is a you got to watch it episode on the YouTube channel, because like you said, he shows off the stuff that he's got and things like that. So definitely. So yeah, so I missed out on that. We had spring break before that week, and then coming back, like just the whole like getting back in the swing of things, and it was like Easter, and I got the episode out of you and Sergio, and then this past one I wasn't able to get one out just because this timing didn't work out. Like, you had spring break, I was trying to catch up on so much stuff with Home Dad Con and just organization stuff. It was nuts. And in the process of it, like I ended up having a bit of a like mental meltdown of just not being able to function very well yesterday. And so, yeah, it was weird. Probably the first time in a very long time that I've felt like that. And with being on like the meds that I'm on, that's something that's supposed to help or prevent that. And it was so gloomy outside, and there was just so much heavy going on with just all the stuff to do. I just couldn't snap out of it. And so it took a lot of conversation with my wife and just trying to take some time to do some other things like mow the yard and whatnot to just clear my head. So yeah, it was a bit of a struggle yesterday.
I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you have the things in place you need to get yourself through that.
Definitely.
That's good to hear.
That's it's important. You got to have your coping mechanisms, and you got to have your things that help push you through the fog, and
your self-care, man.
Yep.
Self-care, always self-care. That's my thing. So
yep. So
always have to bring that up.
So all those things were good. So that's pretty much what was going on. The other thing I've been doing, it's been kind of fun. So I've been toying around with TikTok, and I actually I've gotten the hang of it. I'm starting to build my audience, and it's been cool because I'll talk about beer, I'll talk about bourbon, I talk about gardening out here, just anything having to do with like what's going on in my life and fatherhood and being a stay-at-home dad. And it's been really cool. Like the people that have been watching, it's like not the juvenile side of TikTok at all. It's like the adults who are like, hey, like we just want to hang out with other like-minded people and like have a good time. And so it's been really neat. But yeah, that's the other thing I've been doing here lately. And
Cool.
It's actually lots of fun. It's been pretty neat. I'm really big into bourbon, and so it's been really educational to learn a lot from a lot of people who have bourbon collections that I will never attain, like just insane amounts of bottles. But it's cool to hear them talk about it
through TikTok. Oh, I'm an idiot. TikTok.
Yeah, all through TikTok.
I swear I know, all through TikTok. Old people.
It's all good. Yeah, it's all through TikTok. So yeah, like tonight nice. I poured myself a 94 proof small batch Larceny. Delicious. So it's one of my go-to daily drinkers. So I like that.
But are you dancing?
I'm done. No, not dancing.
No dancing. Because you know it's basically started out for dancing, and
yeah, I leave that to all the youngins that are out there. You know, like, I'm good. You'd be amazed at the bourbon community that's on there. It's insane, honestly. And they're all pushing to like get to 1,000 followers, because that's when the live portion of TikTok opens up where you can do live streaming. And so you get different people who are like, oh, we got to get so-and-so to 1,000. And it's just such a neat community. It just reminds me so much of like what goes on within like the stay-at-home dad realm of just supporting other dads and what's going on. So yeah, it's fun. I truly do enjoy it, and it's totally not like anything I thought it was going to be on there. So, which I'm very happy with, because I didn't want it to be anything like that. So, and their algorithm actually picks up really quickly too. Like, oh, they're not interested in this, but they're very interested in these things. And so you stop seeing some of the like crazy stuff get posted out there, and you see the stuff that you're more interested in. So that's pretty cool too.
Cool.
Yeah.
So are you gonna give us is it a handle? Is it a IGN? What is it called on TikTok?
Yeah, there's a handle. My handle is a Cincy Dad is my handle. So I had it at one other time, and it just didn't work out very well. So I changed it. So it's just a Cincy Dad with, I think it's an underscore. So it's like _Cincy_dad.
All right, all our listeners, go out there and find Brock dancing, because there's a video of him dancing.
I'm definitely not dancing.
It's a TikTok is all about dancing. You guys know this. He says bourbon, but what happens after the bourbon?
You find one of me dancing, and I will owe you a drink at Home Dad Con. Oh Lord. So the other thing too, is it's going to bring. So I was telling you about this beforehand. I'm wearing a very special hat. So if you're watching, you actually get to see this hat. So I've got like it's basically, I call them newsy hats. I've heard other people call them cabbie hats. I think the more like newer term of them is like a Peaky Blinder hat. It's that style. It just doesn't have the razor blade in it.
The Peaky Blinders.
The Peaky Blinders. Yeah, love that.
An Irish flat cap. That's what I call it.
That works too. Yeah,
it's a flat cap. But anyway,
this is actually my grandfather's hat. My grandfather just passed away. I was able to collect a couple of his hats. So I've got a more of a formal style, not fedora really, but like almost like a news person, like you see like them wear with like the little like press. Only it's got like a really cool feather in it. And then I've got this one, which is more for casual wear, that I enjoy wearing pretty frequently. So I've had it for about a year actually, but I thought I'd wear it tonight since it's been since I've been on the show. So yeah, so just a little special homage to my grandfather. He was 93, so he was quite the spry, funny guy.
Yeah.
I came back with his Santa Claus costume actually.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was the one thing that was given to me when I went up there. My uncle was like, here, you're doing Santa Claus. Like, here, you take grandpa's suit and carry on the tradition. And I'm like, awesome. Nice. And the pastor who was doing like the eulogy was like, I came up and talked and everything. And afterwards, as I was walking back, the pastor's like, yeah, but Brock's going to have to put on a few pounds if he's going to fill that thing out. And my wife was like, not if I have anything to say about it.
Put a pillow in there, fake it.
Totally. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be totally a pillow. So yeah. But no, man, I mean, so it's been good. What did you guys do for spring break? Were you just around the house? Did you guys go somewhere?
Mainly just around the house. We have a huge amount of pollen out right now, and all through the last 2 weeks. Really, it's been you go out on the front porch and there is literally a layer of yellow dust. So it hits me kind of hard. So I can't really stay outside for too long. I wear a mask. It's kind of stupid, but I wear around in my yard to try to keep it out. So, but we mainly stayed home. We went out one time, and it was just because spring break should be something in my mind. It should be an event of some kind. Now, my preference would be, hey, let's all go to the beach, any beach, anywhere. The East Coast is probably 6 hours from us. That's
some
nothing.
Beach somewhere.
Yep, there you go. Some beach. Yeah, and just head on out. And but since we couldn't, what I did is I took all the kids to the store at about 9 o'clock in the morning. And normally on a weekday, 9 o'clock in the morning, there's very, very few people there. And I made the stipulation that if we get there and the parking lot's like a quarter full or more, we're not going inside because there's too many people. And they were all fine with that, which I thought was very mature of them. But basically I went in and I just let them buy all of the snacks. Basically, whatever they, not whatever, I shouldn't say we're going to go crazy, but I said, well, we're going to do a fire. Let's do a cookout. So let's just get some hot dogs. And then I let the kids start suggesting, s'mores would be good. And so we just kind of went from there. Now for us, by the way, I do s'mores, a fudge striped cookie with a marshmallow. I don't do the graham cracker and chocolate with a marshmallow.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah, you can even, if you need to, you can make them inside. If it's too cold to go outside, you can make them on the stovetop or whatever else. Yeah, but we went out and they each got their own can of Pringles because we don't have chips very often. And one of the things that I really dislike is when one kid gets a snack and the other kid doesn't. And so you end up them kind of either feeling bad or griping at each other or just straight up fighting each other.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, look, I don't want to share chips. Just here's the Pringles, and the Pringles honestly were the cheapest, other than like a bag of really bad tortilla chips. So it was like Pringles is $1.25, something like that. You each get one. Just pick your flavor. That's your thing. And so that and ice cream and what have you, and then went home and started a little fire out over in the fire pit beside the house and made s'mores and ate chips and hot dogs, and nobody got sick. So I call that a win. So
that's awesome. Yeah, no, that's cool. I saw something very similar to that. I think it was on TikTok, actually. A mom took her two boys to, I think it was Dollar General or something like that, and said, whatever you can fit in your hands and get to the cash register is yours. Like, I think it was a spring break thing. These kids were very smart.
Yeah.
They completely outwitted their mom immediately because whatever you fit in your hand, right? First thing you go for is a bucket.
A bucket. Yep. That was where I went.
And that's exactly, the oldest found it first, like on an end cap, and was like, ooh, a bucket. And then like the youngest was like, oh, you're smart. And he grabbed one too. And man, they filled those things full. And the mom's look on her face was like, ooh, I've been outwitted. It's on now. It was awesome.
Mistakes were made.
Oh, it was great. But I mean, what a cool idea, though. I mean, I love the fact that you're coming up with ways to try to make spring break fun and interesting during this insane time where maybe some things aren't so fun. So kudos to you, man.
I have a little easier though. I got 4 kids. So like even a water balloon fight. I mean, if you think about it, even if your kids, let's say your kids were maybe 8 or 10 years older, maybe not that old, but say they were early teens, a water balloon fight could be fun. Because they're old enough to aim, they're old enough to bean you. They're old enough to take a shot.
Oh, trust me, my 8-year-old and 5-year-old have very good accuracy.
Well, with us, that's kind of what it is. So we get out in the yard, and I really hate water balloon fights because it leaves water balloons everywhere. But it's just such a blast. It's so much easier because, especially when they team up, and it's never me on a team. They always, it's either the oldest and the youngest and the middle two get their two teams against me, or whatever it is. And then almost every single time somebody will flip like halfway through it, and they'll be like, you hit dad pretty hard with that one, smash, and then it's just utter chaos. So, but it's a little bit easier because they have each other to play off of and team up with. So, even sitting around the campfire having s'mores can even be a good, better time, I think, because there's so many of them. So
yeah, no, that's cool, man. Definitely. For our spring break, I don't know if we did a whole lot. Oh, we went to, I know, like the last day of spring break, we went to the zoo. My wife took off of work a little bit early, and you have to have like a reservation and whatnot to go. But we ended up going to the zoo, and it was fun because they've got a kangaroo enclosure, and you basically, they walk right up to them. And I mean, if you're not careful, like they'll hop right into you. I've actually seen video where like it almost, like one of the kangaroos almost knocked over a little girl because she wasn't paying attention. That kangaroo's like, I'm going over there, and I don't care if you get out of my way or not. Like I'll barrel you over. So it was cool to get like up close. I actually videoed the kangaroos fighting. I've got that on my phone. I might have to put that on here so people can see it, because it's pretty cool watching these two kangaroos duke it out. And it's mating season, but they don't have any females in there, so they're just like like their testosterone just takes over. Like, I'm gonna beat you up. So that was fun to watch. But that's what we ended. That was really the majority of what we did. Other than that, it was like watching movies and just goofing around here at the house. It wasn't super warm for our spring break, so that's the other reason.
Speaking of movies, since we're not really on topic with any specific topic, so my boys, 11 and 8, they were I had watched something on aliens or something like that, and like extraterrestrials, not aliens, a movie, and said, Dad, we really want to watch a movie about xenomorphs. And I went, oh, really? Now,
what are those?
No, I know, but I was going to say, since you probably don't know, it's Sci-Fi Geek here. So xenomorphs are the alien creatures, basically, from the movie Alien, Aliens, Alien Covenant, or whatever it was.
Oh,
all of those with, I want to say her name wrong, but Ripley. Yeah, Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, and her just being a total BA throughout the whole thing. And I will say, I saw the first one, I think, in the theater or shortly thereafter, maybe on HBO or Cinemax or something awful after that on cable. But it scared the bejesus out of me, because it was at the time an incredibly scary movie.
Oh yeah.
Now it's nothing. I mean, I don't mean this bad about, but special effects are so much better now in the movies that you see on a regular basis. And there are so many jokes and memes and probably TikToks about xenomorphs and face huggers and things ripping out of your chest because little aliens or whatever, that my boys, even, and my eldest too, she's over everything. She's for teenagers. She's like on everything. But I said, all right, well, we're gonna watch it early so you don't get scared. So that if it is scary, it's not dark when the movie's over, and we'll see how we do. And they watched Alien, which is from 76 or something. No, had to be later than that. Whatever year it came out, and it was nothing. I mean, they were calling out who was going to die next. They were calling out how they were going to die, because it was so,
it's predictable.
30, 40 years later. Yeah, it's just so predictable. But at the time, there was a lot of jump scares and what have you. And I did get them both on a couple of the jump scares because I knew they were coming. They knew they were coming, but they weren't prepared for me to grab their legs. So something would run, and I'm like, and they're like, Dad, stop it. I'm like, what, man? You said you weren't scared. But they hardly blinked, didn't have any problem with it. So we watched that one, and then we watched the second one, Aliens, which was one of my favorites because of the drop ship in it and because of the Marines in it, which is awesome. And then the big loading mech that she gets into, I don't know if you remember, but it's a construction mech that she ends up at the end.
It's been so long since I've even watched any of them. So
it's just basically a big, mech suit that you get into to move cargo around and what have you. And she uses it to kill the alien queen at the end, to push her out into space or whatever. So anyway, I was geeking out all over that. I was loving it. And the boys were like, yeah, that's cool. Do they get scary? I'm like, man, that was scary. That was, look at all the people dying. This is not, nah, Dad. Nah, they didn't really die. Look at that. It's so fake. Why would you even think that happened? So, but it was really, really funny that they wanted to see it and that they knew that they were called xenomorphs. And again, because sci-fi and popular culture have made them so common that you'll see xenomorphs in Minecraft, even, with a mod. Funny. You'll have a mod, and it's like, what is a face hugger doing in here? Oh, Dad, it's just a mod. It's no big deal. And I'm like, wow. One of the scariest things in my childhood. Well, you're going to put it as a Minecraft mod.
I think one of the first, because I know that I didn't watch Alien before this, but I think watching Spaceballs and like seeing the little xeno come out of the guy's chest in the bar or in the diner or whatever. Like I was like, what is this? And they're like, oh,
hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
Which I think the majority of the people in there either were from the actual cast of Alien or they were just really good lookalikes, if I'm not mistaken. So,
cool.
But there's a spoof in there where he like eats like some sort of soup or something like that, and it comes out. Like, what did he have? And they're like, I'll take the soup or something. But
the special.
Yeah, the special. That's what it was. So yeah, that's cool though. That's the one thing. That's where I'm at right now with movies and my kids. Is I want to watch certain movies with them, but I'm like, there's no way they're of age for this yet, and so that's been really difficult. Because like my kid got freaked out over Harry Potter about, I think after the second one, the third one, when the Dementors showed up, he was kind of not too cool with that. And so we just sort of backed away from any of that for a while. And I'm bummed because there's some really good movies. Like I wanted them to be able to watch with me. I'm just like, well, that's not going to happen now. Like we watched, they like watching roller coaster videos on YouTube, which are fun.
Yeah.
They're the actual like point of view ones that are from like real roller coasters. And then there are the ones that are computer generated that people put on there. And we watched one the other day where it's basically the entire movie of Ghostbusters in like 12 minutes. And it's all done to a roller coaster. It was really cool. I mean, the audio is there. The different lines for different parts of it are there. Like the main scenes, like the big main scenes, they have like sections. And I'm watching it with the kids, and I'm really enjoying it because I'm like, man, this is one of the movies I really wanted to watch with them. I thought they'd really find it funny. And we get almost all the way through it, and I'm like, hey, buddy, like, what do you think of this? I was like, this is an actual movie. Like, this is one of my favorite movies. And he's like, I don't want to watch this. he's like, this is cool. He's like, but I don't want to watch the movie. And I'm like, okay. So I know where we are right now. We're not watching Gremlins for a while. We're not watching.
Yeah, sad.
Yeah, I was like, well, we got a few years. We'll see how we'll play it out. I mean, he's only 8, so we got time.
Yeah. And everybody develops like at their own speed too. I mean, I don't want to say which one of my kids, but they're old enough to not be afraid of the dark, but they are. They just are. And it just, and I will say for me, I've never been one to force my kid through a fear. I think personally, the way I look at my children, I think they've been better off if I let them progress through it on their own. Not to give them my own fears, of course, but also not to be like, oh, well, you're afraid of the dark. Well, let's go stand outside for a little while. Then we'll see how afraid you are. Oh no, I'm going to be petrified. Why would I do that? And it seems to have worked out pretty well because the things that they've gone through and gotten over, it's been amazing what they can deal with after they figured out how to deal with that fear. So, but anyway.
That's cool. So, I can't say the same. I was definitely forced out of a fear when I was a kid. I had a fear of heights, and we would always go to we'd always come down here to Cincinnati to Kings Island because it was a few hours to get down here and ride different roller coasters. And there were some that I would ride I was fine with or whatever. But then there was one time where like I was I think I was like right around 13 or something like that. And my dad basically turned to me and said, if you don't ride these big roller coasters with us, you're not coming with us anymore. And I was like, oh crap. Like, like what an ultimatum.
Right.
I guess I'm getting on this big roller coaster with a loop in it right now. Let's see how this goes. I hope I don't die. Kind of deal. And I got on, and sure enough, like I went down and did the whole thing and got off of it. And my dad's like, how was that? I was like, it was really scary, but let's go do it again. And like at that point I was set and have ridden many a roller coaster since then.
Cool.
So,
well, I'm glad it pushed you through it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was just kind of like one of those deals where I don't know, for whatever reason, I was just holding on to it. But the only thing I had a real fear of, like from that though, was like just getting up on ladders or like high stuff like that. It took a little bit. And then I got into like doing construction and roofing with my family, and that'll break it real quick too. When you're like, I just want to be up here helping you. Well, you got to get up here on this high roof.
That's right. You got to be on the roof.
And so, yeah, you just kind of work through it. So you're either going to do it or you're not. So that's pretty much what I did. But
well, and learning too, that fear is a part of who you are. It's a part of, yourself, and it's fine. It's good. It's there for a reason. You don't have to back away from it.
Yeah.
You can face it. You can look at it and go, oh, well, I'm afraid of this. Well, I need to do this thing anyway. And I think the most famous quote that I can think of is that John Wayne had said that. That's what bravery is. It's being afraid and doing the job anyway, and I'm just, all over that. But again, when you're ready.
Yeah. And I'm a speed nut. Like I love race cars and stuff like that, and always enjoyed going fast. And I remember talking to an Indy 500 driver back years ago. Gosh, this is so long ago, but I used to go back in the garage after the races, and I remember getting a chance to actually like talk to one of the drivers. And I'm like, how do you do that, man? Like you're driving like 250 miles an hour or something like that around the track. I'm like, what's the deal? And he's like, it's all about fear. Like he's like, you have this fear of what could happen, and then there's the fear of overcoming that fear and battling through it. And it's what gives you all the hindsight to see everything as it's happened before it even happens, to be able to push through it and, try to win. And I'm like, oh, that makes total sense. Like, there's the fear portion of it, but there's also the, like, I can do this type of deal. And it's like, if you can't balance both of those, then the fear is going to take over and you're going to crash. And he was like, exactly. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, now I just want to go racing. Like, like, let me in your cockpit. Let's do this thing, kind of deal.
All right. So then it begs the question, what's the fastest you've gone in a land vehicle?
The fastest I've gone in a land vehicle. I have gone 125 miles an hour. Man, you can do that in a sedan. What you can, yeah. I mean, you have to understand, this was actually not it was
it was your dad's car.
No. I was at a convention in New Orleans. We won't name who or what. I was at a convention in New Orleans for dads, and I got to test drive a Stinger, a Kia Stinger, which is a really nice sports car. This thing does like 0 to 60 in like 2.5, I think. And so it just like, I got up on the highway. We were supposed to just go around the corner to get beignets, but they were full. So I was like, can I take it out on the highway? And they're like, yeah. And I got it up on the highway at like 60 immediately. And so it was me and another guy, and we're going down the highway, and I'm like, I feel like we're not even moving for 60 miles an hour. And I was like, dude, I looked over at my guy. I was like, do you trust me? And he was like, what are you about to do? And I'm like, I'm about to see what this thing can really do. And he was like, all right. And so I just like slammed it, just hammer down, and we just took off and just down the highway. And there were walls on both sides, so I wasn't really concerned with any police officers, because like there wasn't any place for a police officer to sit, honestly. So it was gonna have to be an aircraft cop, if anything. But I went flying down the road, and I'm pretty sure I topped out at like 125 or something like that. He's like, all right, that was good enough for me. You can back it down now.
Back it down. Yeah. I had to look it up. The Stinger is a nice looking car, so I could see.
It is a very nice car. They made a really nice car there. So yeah. So I would say that's the fastest I have driven in a car personally, but I've also been in a Mustang with a buddy of mine, and I'm pretty sure we've topped out like in the 200 easily, flying down the highway in the morning hours before heading down to the Indy 500. With nobody around. Like it was completely empty. I think we flew by like one semi truck, and that was it. So we did that for maybe like 2 or 3 miles, and then we were like, well, we better back it down before some like state trooper like has a heyday with us. So you
get to a point where you see a vehicle you've got to get over, because you're going so fast that you're going to hit it if you don't move before it, you get to it. So so that's probably the fastest I've gone, but it's cool.
It's so much fun. I'd love to be able to do like a test drive on like an actual racetrack. I think that would definitely be a cool bucket list thing. So who knows, in time, there's there's always that opportunity at some point at one of the speedways. So
or
Disney, they do that.
They have now this was years ago, but when we went, they had a track outside of the park itself that you basically would sign up for, and you could hear the cars going, and that very, and it's more stock car racing than it is, it's like NASCAR's cars, as opposed to Formula One or anything like that. So it was
not
definitely
open wheel,
around. But still, that's cool. That was tempting, but this was a long time ago, and they may have taken that out, or who knows. But
I'm pretty sure the Kentucky Speedway down here still has, at Sparta, I'm pretty sure they still have something. So it'll be something that'll probably happen at a later date at some point. We'll see. I think it's all about, you got to have fun. You got to find things to have fun doing as you get older. And like, I know that with like the passing of my grandfather, the talk of like fear of death and that stuff kind of came up at one point. And I was like, I don't fear death. Like, I got nothing to fear on that. And I was like, I guarantee my grandfather wasn't fearing it at all. Like, honestly, I mean, he was very prepared for it in his own way, but you fear those things and then it impedes being able to get to do other things in your life. And so you just got to bear down. Like, too much time's wasted fearing on something. It just eats away. And you see that, like, like I'm getting ready to do this 5,000-mile road trip with my family this summer. And there are times where I'm just like, oh man, like this is going to be so daunting. And there's this like little bit of fear that creeps up in you, and you're just like, no, like this is going to be fun. Like, yes, it's going to be strenuous. And there are going to be times where like, the iron is going to sharpen the iron in some ways on this, but in the end, like it's going to be such a great adventure to go on. So that's the things you got to focus on in that situation.
Yeah, definitely with that one too, is the memories is what the kids will remember, because they will, and they'll think about it for the rest of their lives. They'll always have that. So that's cool.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, so that's pretty much what's been going on. Aside from that, like I really enjoyed to kind of go back on some of the podcasts that we've done just recently, like the podcast with Mike. Wicket. So he actually had a big announcement last week, and he's taking on a more permanent role with the morning show that he's been kind of subbing in and out with. So so he's going to be on the radio regularly now in the mornings for that. So I'm excited for him. That was really cool. Plus doing all the other stuff with the sports talk radio and stuff. So he's really gotten back behind the mic on a more full-time basis.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Congrats, Mike. I hope you hear this. Congratulations.
Definitely. Yeah. So that was really cool to hear that. I actually jumped on his live when he announced it. So that was cool to be on there for that. And then talking to Joe and Jake about craft beer was a lot of fun. And it was funny because Matt Strain was one of the first guys on Instagram to comment and was all like, hey, did you guys talk about non-alcoholic beers? And I'm like, no, we didn't. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, we just need to have an episode where we just have you come on and talk about craft non-alcoholic beers. I mean, he just actually announced that he is now an ambassador for Athletic Brewing, which is really cool that he's doing that, because their ambassadors are all like athletes. And he is not an athlete.
No.
And so just how all that kind of came about, I actually pushed him a little bit to make it happen, because I felt like he would be really good for the company. And they finally like accepted him in as an ambassador. So it's pretty exciting to see the things that are going to be coming his way. But we'll have to have him on the show to talk non-alcoholic craft beer, which a lot of people probably are going, really? Non-alcoholic craft beer? How does that taste like? I kid you not, the flavor points on non-alcoholic craft beer are so on point. Aside from the fact that there's no alcohol in it, that is a really good drink for just throughout during the daytime. Like, honestly, like, you get guys that are like, I just want a beer, like, while I'm having lunch. Like, this is like, that is the perfect thing to have, is just a non-alcoholic beer, is the flavors all there. So that's basically, honestly, for me, like, that's what I want. I want the flavor. Like, the alcohol side of it is just a bonus, but not necessarily needed. So,
well, good for Matt though, too. I'm glad to hear that he's moving forward with that. But sorry we didn't talk about it, Matt, but we did talk about beer. So we're almost there. We're getting there.
Right. We're getting there. Yeah. And Matt's been sober for, gosh, I think 8 years now or something like that. So he's had quite a journey on that. So it's like I said, it's really excited to see where it's taken him to. So yeah, so that's, I mean, other than that, we've got other things planned, and we'll get some more guests in, that kind of thing. Home Dad Con is coming around the corner. I pulled up a little bit of a spoiler thing to talk about here without really dropping any names. I can definitely tell you about some topics that are coming up for that. So of course, like we're going to have a couple mental health breakouts. We're going to have a session on gaming. I believe it's going to be more lined with video gaming, if I'm not mistaken, which is going to be neat. We've got a sex therapist coming in to talk about sexual health and relationships.
Cool.
I've got a buddy coming in to talk about road tripping with your kids. He's been to like 38 states with an 84 Bonneville like station wagon. So,
wow.
Yeah. And he's got a DIY teardrop trailer that he built. And so they go all over the place. And so he's coming to talk, which he's got a lot of expertise in that. He's been a stay-at-home dad for like 10 years. And then we're going to have it's called How to Pitch Nearly Anything to Nearly Anybody, which is going to be really cool. This guy is going to come in and talk about just basically how to like sell yourself to either a brand or to maybe somebody that like an employer or something like that. You're trying to get a job, which I think is great for any stay-at-home dad that's trying to transition maybe out and into the marketplace workforce.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah. So we'll have that. Got a dad coming in to talk about hunting with your kids and gun safety. And this was something that I was really excited to see, because even though you might not own a gun, there are times where you or your kids are going to be at a house where there could be a gun. And man, it is so important for kids to know what to do in that situation. You know, if they were to come across it for any reason, and honestly, like any good gun owner is not going to have a gun out where a kid can find it, but you just never know with some kids who actually live in the house, what they're going to do from time to time, even though they've been probably educated and told not to get them out and show them off like they're some sort of like, ooh, look at this type of deal. But so one of the guys from here in town in Cincinnati is going to be coming to talk about that. So I'm excited to have him. We're going to have an authors panel, which is going to be really neat. So we'll have basically a group of guys who are going to talk about how they publish their books, how they've gotten, you know, their writings published, which is going to be really neat. And then we've got some main speaker sessions that are going to be awesome. You know, we're going to have a dad and his trans son talking about the journey of parenting a trans child, and they're both coming to present. And so that's going to be really exciting. I was really pumped to get that one lined up. So that'll be really cool. We're going to be talking about kids and technology, and we're going to have a military veteran dad talking about basically how he's transitioned into being a stay-at-home dad and the things that he's going through. So it's going to be exciting, man. It's 2 great days packed full of programming. I'm pumped to get there here in the next 6 months.
That's great. And I'm very excited. Of course, I'm always excited about it. I love Home Dad Con, but especially with the number of vaccines that are coming out and the way the rollout's going with that, I think reasonably speaking, we'll be fine by the end of summer, probably. So I love it. I really missed it last year.
Hopefully the numbers will get a little bit bigger for what we can actually occupy the room with, because right now it's smaller than what we'd like it to be. As a planning committee, but that's going to be sort of we have no control over that type of deal. We're just waiting to see what those numbers are going to be right now, but there's still tickets available, which is good. So if you've gotten your vaccine and you're feeling like, hey, like I want to come to this, get your ticket, because I can't guarantee that there are going to be very many tickets left, honestly, when it all comes down to it. So I'd hate for anybody to miss it.
and if you're listening and you're on the fence at all, come on, just go do it one time and you'll want to do it for the rest of your life. Guaranteed. Well, I can't guarantee it, but I know I would, but I would if I could. And I just get ready, meet your tribe and get hugged.
And if you're financially strapped by like, I can't do this financially, like I could get away, but I can't financially pay for it. Like we've got a scholarship. Please sign up for it. We've got the money to get you there. And that's the one thing that we want to see more than anything is new guys who want to come and check it out. like we've got a way for you. So definitely do that. You can either message us through the Anchor app itself and we'll get in contact with you, or you can go to athomedad.org and find the link, or you can go to homedadcon.org, and that's the main page that has all the information on it with hotels and, you know, the costs and that kind of stuff right now. And there are still some 25th anniversary tickets available, which don't mean anything as far as like you're going to get anything special. It's just it's a lower price than the regular registration price is what it comes down to. So definitely jump on that, because there's only like a few of those left. So you want to get that in there as well. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. It's counting down. I was looking at the calendar the other day, and I'm like, wow, like, okay, so it's the 13th now. So that means that you've got May, June, July, August, September, October, boom, like 6 months exactly to the day. We'll have a group of guys from all over the country here in Cincinnati, and it's gonna be awesome. So I'm getting pumped.
6 months to the day. That'll be the bourbon trip.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there. It was just 6 months to bourbon. Just
6 months to the day of the road trip. Yeah. So that's kind of fun, because like honestly, I feel like that's going to be like road tripping with Home Dad Chat in a way, because I'm driving and you're driving.
That's right.
We're gonna have all the yahoos behind us, and I've already heard that there's a few of them who are actually who are tipping us in bottles of bourbon. So I'm excited for that.
I'd hate that. Please give me another one.
But so it's going to be fun.
Well, it is a sacrifice, I feel, you and I both, of not having any of those samples while we're going. Now I'm willing, because I don't drink a lot, and when I do, I really like to take my time, and I'm an old man, so it'd be like 3 hours later, I'm halfway through my first. So I'm willing to drive for sure. I'm willing to do it just because I think everybody's going to have a blast. That's going to be a really, really cool, kind of off, I don't want to say off the books, but off the schedule kind of get together with the other dads and just hang out and have a good time. So I hope everybody can go with us.
Yeah, it'll definitely be fun. That's for sure. So, and I'm looking forward to it. We can just eat all the bourbon balls, man. We'll have a good time with those. So those are delicious.
I do like bourbon balls.
Those, that's some wonderful chocolate covered candy right there. So I've got to bring some of that back for my wife, or else, she might not let me back in the door. That, and I've got to come home with a couple Woodford Reserve candles for her, so that the house smells like bourbon.
Oh yeah. Nice.
The candles. That
sounds really good.
Those are the perfect thing to buy and bring home, because in your house just smells like the distillery pretty much the entire time. So
nice.
Yeah.
Remind me of that while we're up there. I'm definitely I absolutely want to get at least one of those, put like beside my desk or something, just so I can enjoy
you don't even have to light it. Like, you just open it up and it'll
just open it up.
It's so powerful. It just wafts throughout the house. Yeah. There are times where I'm like, I don't even light the thing. I'm just like, you just open it up and it just wafts throughout the house. You're like, this is awesome. So yeah. Cool, man. Well, this has been fun, but of course we need to end it tonight and get on with other things. But we'll have you all back in another week, and we'll have more fun guests to talk about different topics and things like that. And if you've got a topic, or if you've got a question or comment, please message us or comment on any of the social media posts that we put out there. But we really appreciate everybody who's been listening, and we will talk to you real soon. Y'all have a good day.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.